It's time for one of those viewer requests. So big shout out to Patrick Hagborn2124 who replied to my previous F1 video. I think it was F1 2006 or F106. Yeah, and asked for this on the PSP. This is F109. Like I say, on a Sony PlayStation Portable. I've never played any F1 games on the PSP. Or on a handheld, come to think of it. I don't think I have. Anyway, look at this. The flame. I think that'll do for my helmet. Yeah, nothing's going to beat the flame. So, yeah, it's a bit of an F1 themed weekend on the channel. So, like I already said, we did FIFA F1 06 on the PS2 yesterday. And today, we're doing this. Because as I am recording this, Max Verstappen has just won Imola Grand Prix. No surprises, really, even though I was saying a few days ago that F1's getting a bit more interested again, and then Max is like, yeah, whatever, watch this. He's an incredible driver. He is. It has to be said. Anyway, enough about Max von Stappen, which is what I called him in the previous video. I think medium is around my skill. Probably could play on easy. I'm not good at these games. A lot of the same menus, or they look very similar, the menus do, to F1. Oh, it's Hamilton to F1 on the PS2. Kovalainen, Felipe Massa, Mickey Raikkonen. Can't say his name. Is it Kubica? Is it pronounced like that? Fernando Alonso, Pedro Piquet, Timo Glock, Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel, Rosberg. Let's go with Vettel in the Red Bull. He looks so young there. This season feels like yesterday to me. Not that I watched much of it, but I remember it well. And, yeah, it's crazy how quick time has gone. Anyway, let's just go straight to the qualifiers. Forget who needs to practice? What a waste of time. So, yeah, this was a thing, wasn't it? Australia was always the first Grand Prix in a season up until some year. And it's obviously Bahrain is the first race these days. Is that my teammate, Vettel, and is it Sutel? S-U-T. Was there a driver called Sutel? Rhetorical questions, ahoy. Oh, there you go, it's close. Sutil. Okay, let's see how this handles. I hate this camera for F1 games. It's just a no-no. Okay. Oh, it's very sensitive, but it might be because this camera. What's that? That's what Circle does on the PS5 controller anyway. I'm emulating via RetroArch, which emulates PSP really well most of the time. This looks pretty damn good, doesn't it, for a portable game? There he is. I've tried all the buttons to toggle the camera in race, but it doesn't seem to be one. I think cockpit looks the good one here, or the best one for me. Usually I would play on the head cam, like cockpit view. Okay. Yeah, it feels a bit better. It's very sensitive, the steering. I'm using D-pad. Well, I'm alternating between D-pad and the left analog stick. Both work for steering. I'm not too sure what I prefer. It's extremely sensitive. Okay. I like this, straight away. I've got some reviews open, guys, but I'll just tell you about them straight away, because I read a couple of the reviews before hitting record. On PSP, this basically scored 7 out of 10 everywhere. So people liked it. They thought it was decent, you know. It wasn't the best game they've ever played, but it was a good F1 game on the PlayStation Portable. On the Wii, however, some media outlets or publications did not like it at all. They said it looked dreadful graphically. The poor old Wii. Disclaimer, I actually liked the Wii, but only for Nintendo first-party titles. Don't buy third-party games on a Nintendo console. That's just my opinion, of course. Not since the Wii onwards. There's just no point. Yeah, it feels quick. I mean, it's an F1 game, it will feel quick. But graphically, everything's zooming along quite nicely. Oh, I've talked about this before, but I hate this little bend here. I always mess that up. I like the cityscape in the background there. That looks pretty cool. Alonso is out in front, according to my engineer. So I'm in 6th on this qualifying lap. I'm not doing that well. Oh, I'm lucky I didn't get in trouble for going over that curb. But yeah, I like it. Let me know your favourite F1 game in the replies. It's so... Or rather... It's such a debatable opinion to have, isn't it, when it comes to F1 games? Everyone seems to have their own favourite. I mean, mine is F1 2020. A lot of people love F1 2019 as their favourite. Some people say Jeff Crammond's. Some people F1 97 on PS1. That would be up there for me. We've actually done our top 3 F1... Sorry, our top 3 favourite F1 games of all time. Dave and I, big shout out to Dave. We did that for the channel last year, I believe. I'll put the link to it in the description if you're interested, guys. But we do talk about our top 3 favourite F1 games. Dave's top 3 are very interesting as well, because Dave has played far more F1 titles than I have. So check it out. Check that video out. My shout-outs are a little bit more obvious. Dave's is, yeah, like I said, I won't spoil it. Check out the video. Here's your replay. Look at this. Or rather, the camera when you watch other drivers from the pit. I remember some of these car liveries, actually. Oh, it looks really cool, doesn't it? The PSP, what a beast. What a beast of a console. I mean, look at this. I would have loved this back in the day if I had owned a PSP. I never owned one. But I would have spent a lot of time with this, because it's got this championship mode in there, and that's not always the case when it comes to handheld console gaming. Sometimes you'll get like a basic, bare bones version of the game that you would get on its home console counterparts, if that makes sense. Oh, I've been pushed out. Look at this. Time's up. So yeah, 19th. Sutil in 20th. Let's get to the race then, guys. Let's get to the race. I mean, I should have done a lot better in the Red Bull. But it's the steering for me in this. Let's see how it manages, or see how I manage in the race. It's not going to be pretty, because I always bash into the other cars, like, not on purpose. I really do try and avoid them. It's just I'm always so late with the brakes. Oh, I don't think this camera angle was a good idea for the race. I got such limited field of vision. Straight into the back of the Ferrari, was it? Yeah, I like this game. It's decent. The only thing I will say is... Oh, I'll keep repeating myself. Oh, dear. The stewards are not happy with your behaviour. It's the steering, guys. I'll always compare every F1 game to F1 2020, which is unfair, because 2020 is recent, and obviously they're working with better hardware for the game, but the steering is so damn good in 2020. You can really throw the car around the corners, and that's how F1 should be. Not the case with this. I find it very twitchy. But I got to remember, this is a handheld console game. And like I said earlier, I would have spent a lot of time with this if I owned a PSP. Oh, they're going to take me over. No, they're not. It's quite tricky looking in your rear view mirror. Let's get out of there. Let's rage quit. Because you have to use the triangle button. So when I'm holding X to accelerate, going over to triangle is quite the ask to look behind you. I'm not too keen on that button layout, but you could probably assign the buttons to your own custom configuration in the options, but I can't be bothered. Let's just do a quick start, have a look at some other tracks like we did with the F1 game on PS2. It's got to be Lewis in the McLaren, in the Steve McLaren. Okay. I've always been of the opinion that, and I don't know this, but F1 games must be incredibly difficult to code and to get right because of all the different permutations going on at the same time. All the rules and all that stuff. I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. I kind of do. I wouldn't want to make an F1 game, put it that way, even though I would not be able to make any video game whatsoever because I have no idea. But yeah, it's like not... It's not making your average platformer, is it? This is serious business. Okay, I don't know this track. I remember this track. Everyone knows this track, of course. But this is the F1 version of this track, isn't it? Where... I mean, when was the last time we saw I'm not going to try and say it. The Nürburgring. That's why I didn't try and say it, even though I've just said it. I remember it in PGR. Dave and I, big shout out to Dave again. We used to play so much of that track in PGR. But that was not this, was it? It was the full thing. Was it the full circuit in that game? Whereas this is a portion of it. I'm not entirely sure. I know it's the longest or one of the longest tracks in Europe. Or maybe even in the world. Yeah, I'm not enjoying the steering, guys. I'm absolutely hopeless at this game. I don't like having racing line on permanently. You can either have it on permanently or off. There's no, like, cornering only. I don't always stick to the racing line, as you guys have probably noticed by now. This is a ton of fun, though. Ah, this is tough, this is very difficult. There's a steep learning curve, guys. I do not know the track. So, let's head over to the track that I am absolutely awful on. Yes, worse than what you've just seen. Monaco. Let's go with Kimmy. Please say they'll have Monte Carlo. They will, won't they? There's a couple of tracks on here, like Kuala Lumpur. I don't recognise that. I've never raced on that. But for the benefit of the video, we'll go with Monaco. This is how we ended the F1 06. Was it F1 06? Yeah, F1 06 on PS2 video. I know this track like back of my hand. But being good on it is a different matter entirely. Don't worry, I'm not rage quitting. We're going to try that again. Oh! That's a bit better. That's a bit better. There we go. Oh. Ah. Oh, dearie me. Oh, just keeping this thing in a straight line's difficult, guys. It's a me thing, because I think you spend a bit of time with this game and get used to the physics, the driving physics. It's actually quite rewarding to play. There goes my wing, front wing. Pit this lap. I repeat, pit this lap. Oh. Yeah, I think if you learned the the basics, which I will do, because I'm going to play a bit of this over the weekend now. I think there's something here. Oh my days, that's the shortcut. I think I've been penalised for that. No one said anything. My engineer hasn't piped up and said, "You were crap, drive properly." Yeah, I got to adjust to the steering. That's the main thing. I must have said that about 80 times now. Okay. Let's try far chase. Even though earlier I said I hate that camera, but we were using near chase then. Let's try a bit of far chase. Okay. Oh. Every time I hit that, I hit that same barrier on the way into the lap completion line thing, the finish line. Oh! Commentary's fantastic, or rather the engineer telling you what's going on at all times is really advanced, I'd like to say. Let's try this again. Let's retry. Yeah, to have all this content and the presentation all crammed into the PSP, very impressive, I must say. Because you can compare it to other sports games like Pro Evolution Soccer on the... Oh, did you see the way he nicked in then? Was it the Force India car? I'm not sure. But yeah, sports games on PSP, as an example, Pro Evolution Soccer, the gameplay's fantastic in the PSP versions of PES. But there's not a lot of content in there. It's all very, very basic because of the limitations. You've only got like one stadium to play at, or a few. I mean, this has got all the tracks. It's got the Grand Prix calendar of that season. You know what I mean? All the different circuits, different teams, your engineer talking to you on the headset. Fantastic. But that's enough for me, guys, I think. I'm absolutely awful. I'm actually trying different cameras to get a bit better. This actually feels a bit more accessible using this camera. Far chase. I think I'll stick with this and try and learn it. Brilliant game. Brilliant game. Really enjoying this. Good request. Look out for more content coming to the channel, guys. We've got the Champions League final soon. So look out for that. The Champions League final on the couch. Dave and Mike, Mike and Dave. I'll speak to you all soon.
You're in P19.